I'm Joan Kennedy. The program you are about to see is for adults. It is entitled, How Do the Children Learn to Drink? It's not about alcoholism or rowdy teenagers. It is about those happy, carefree years between 6 and 11. How do the children learn to drink? A group of counselors and educators in the Boston area has decided to find out. What do the children think? Where do they learn about alcoholism? What influences them? As a parent and a caring adult, I hope you will be able to use their findings to help your children develop responsible attitudes towards the use of alcohol. I'm happy that we're asking these questions. I hope you'll ask them in your family. This program is designed to help start that thinking.
Thank you, Mrs. Kennedy. Hello, I'm Dennis Becker, one of the producers of this program, and an educator and a parent. And on today's program, we're going to deal with the question, how do the children learn to drink? Now remember, we're talking about the 6 to 11 age bracket. We know very little about these kids, and we don't really expect to find 7 and 8-year-old alcoholics, but we are concerned about how they learn their attitudes about the use of alcohol. So to find out, we talk to the experts, the kids. Well, we also talk to some older experts. And in this next half hour, we're going to share our findings. So please stay with us. As a parent, like many of you, I know that if you want to learn some things about kids, you ask the kids. So we did. Quite a few of them. In fact, we spent several hours with the children, and we learned some things that were interesting, some things informative, some things we already knew, of course. What we'd like to do now is show you some of the highlights of the hours that we spent with those kids.
Oh, it was Christmas Eve.
And?
You got drunk.
You did?
Screwdrivers, you know those things that you mix up? Those. Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? Were your folks there? Did they know?
Yeah.
What did they say?
My uncle let me have some.
Why? Because it was a holiday, like you said?
Yeah. My uncle bought me to have some.
I don't know. I'd probably ask someone, like one of them, maybe high school kids or something.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they would know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Norman, who would you ask?
I'd try it out, see how it tastes.
Just try it by yourself?
Yeah. Well, I'd sneak a couple sips of my father's beer.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother tells me, my grandfather tells me, and my parents tell me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like Monica said, when you go down to Boston, you see a lot of people drinking.
Tasted it about 4 years ago. Like, we didn't really drink. We used to only take a sip, to see what it tastes like. We used to ask. And sometimes it'd say no, and sometimes just give us a little sip, or just put about that much in a glass just to taste it.
Who did?
Like I'd ask my father, oh, can I have a little sip? And they'll go, well, you just had a sip. Why don't you, next time?
Mm-hmm. So you were saying you tasted it first time with your family?
Yeah.
Okay. Renee, how about you? The first time, where were you? What were you doing?
It was on a Christmas. I was 7 years old, and I asked for a sip.
So it was at home?
In my grandmother's.
In your grandmother?
Yeah, it's a family.
Michael, do you remember the first time you tasted it? Where were you?
2 years ago at my grandmother's, when I was 7 years old.
So you were with your family?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Alex, where were you the first time?
I was at my grandfather's house. This was in Puerto Rico, and that was about 5 years ago.
So it was with your family?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, how about you? Where were you the first time you tasted alcohol?
Over my grandmother's.
With
A couple of years ago, yeah, with my whole family.
I think that's how, they get divorces and everything,
like maybe the husband or the wife drinks too much beer and they go and they like run away from the other person. And I'd ask my Uncle Bob because he makes wine.
Well, he does. And he would know.
Yeah.
Alex, how about you? If you wanted to know more about alcohol, who would you ask? What would you do?
I would ask my parents, and that's the only person I can. Probably
Okay.
somebody else in my family, like my aunt or my uncle.
Okay. Michael, how about you? Who would you ask? Who?
My mother.
Why?
It's the only one I can get permission from. Then ask my Uncle Bob.
Renee, if you wanted to know more about alcohol, what would you do?
My mother, because my mother doesn't drink and she'll tell me everything about it.
You know, Jimmy was suggesting that the place to go is to somebody who already does drink. And you said go to somebody who doesn't drink.
Doesn't is better,
Why?
because they'll probably know more about it. Really, because people who do drink probably, like, they get drunk all the time. They don't know what they're saying or something, because my mother doesn't drink.
Like tough kids, you know, they want to act tough, so they drink beer.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm tough, I drink Schlitz.
Yeah.
You know, they really want to be real tough and everything.
Yeah.
Show off. Like somebody else drinks it, well, I'll drink it. When you look at a TV show like a Sunday movie or something, you'll see this lady or man drinking, taking it and just drinking it and drinking it.
Does it make you think when you see people on TV using alcohol, Janine?
Not to drink it.
Why?
It's because they just sell it for get money. You can be much more richer to just sell alcohol.
No, but like there's always like lots of TV programs. They have like one scene where they're drinking, but lots of them have. I mean, lots of TV programs at least have one scene where they're drinking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of alcohol on TV.
For me, well, for me, I think it was, I didn't like it. I think it smelled awful, and it got me dizzy. And I didn't like it. It was weird. Sometimes they have funny taste because you have, like, you don't really like taste them. Like, you don't like, if you drank water, you know what it tastes like.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't drink, like, booze every day, so it tastes like a weird taste when you first, start drinking.
Renee, what did it taste like to you the first time?
Bitter. Like, bitter.
Greg, have you ever tasted alcohol?
Yeah. It was when my uncle had beer, and I had some of it.
All right. Monica, have you ever tasted alcohol?
Yeah.
When and how?
Well, my great-grandmother comes up to visit us. She drinks a lot of beer and whiskey.
She let you try some?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Julie? Have you ever tried alcohol?
Just a little weeny bit.
Just a little weenie? Well, all right. How did you do that? When, where?
At my house, my father gave me only a little sip. Little sip.
Why do you keep saying little sip?
Because it was only a little sip.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people on the streets, stuff like that, in woods, in alleys, on TV, everywhere. You name it, they've got it.
Because it can knock off your head too much. But it eats your kidneys or something. I heard something that it muffs up your kidneys. Yeah. Hurts your kidneys. Or you can die or something from it. Too much of it. Sometimes it gets real serious into, like, when, like, somebody drinks a lot and gets too much over it. It looks like his mind goes right off, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And people sometimes, they do things incredible things. And that's
What kind of a person? Yeah, what kind of a person uses alcohol?
Old people.
What?
Old people, like a guy named Tom, we know.
Yeah.
Usually, like, younger people use it in a way, like, you know what I mean? Like, well, like, older people do it, like they're drunk. They always want to get drunk, they like that taste and stuff. And it's sometimes they drink to forget all their problems. And old people drink it or just to get drunk or something. Mostly they do it to get rid of their problems, to forget all about it.
Maybe if they start drinking it a lot, then it'll become a habit, and when they grow up, they'll go wild and be drunk, and they'll just go around causing trouble.
What would you tell them?
Because I don't think it's good.
Why?
I think it tastes awful.
I'd tell them not to drink it because I wouldn't want them to find out, because then there'll be more and more people drinking it, and then when they grow up, more and more people will be drinking it, and that's going to be bad.
I'd say no.
Why?
Because it could hurt them.
How? Hurt you how? How does it hurt you?
They'll drink 30 or 40 drinks, and they'll get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll go home, and they won't feed their kids, and they won't take a job, and the kids will be poor and stuff and die.
Because I think it's bad for you. But
Back on it.
I know. I only think you should only, drink it on parties. Once a month is better, because then you won't get drunk and you just take...
Well, they could use it once in a while. I mean, as long as they didn't get drunk, because a lot of people use it as a habit every day, drink and they get drunk, but it didn't matter really how much they drink. Well, I mean, they could drink maybe only once a week for a little celebration. It wouldn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would tell them to not drink it because it's not good for them, because they might get sick, and it's not good for them.
I would advise somebody not to, because I wouldn't want anybody really getting drunk, because then they could cause destruction and be terrorists of the world.
Well, as you can see, we had a lot of fun with those little kids, and we learned a lot of things, too. We found out that family, television, teenagers all have an influence on the developing attitudes towards alcohol that these kids have. Now, some of that, of course, we knew. We expected to learn that. But some of those things we didn't know for sure. But what do little kids know anyway? We had to get ourselves some experts for this program. So we did. And in fact, we spent several hours with them also. Pediatricians, child psychologists, parents, teenagers, people from all walks of life. We spent time with them as we did with the kids, asked them some of the same questions and some different ones. And we'll be back to show you the highlights of that after this. We asked the adults some of the same questions we asked the kids, and in some cases we got the same answer. So from all of the time we spent with the adults, we're going to show you some of the typical responses that we got. Now, as we go through here, we'll try to identify who some of these people are and how they answered the question, how do the children learn to drink?
Well, children, at that early age, I think, a good many times they mimic their parents. I know my own children that if I'm having a drink at home, they'll come to me and ask, can I have some? Can I taste it? And I think that their attitude towards it depends mostly on the parents' attitude. I don't believe that you should say, oh no, it's bad for you. Because I'm not really sure that, that it is bad. I drink myself.
Until age 11, before children really get to feel that they have to be in with their peer groups and do, whatever's going on with the rest of the children, that, like, they learn how to do anything else from their parents initially.
In our home, parents don't drink. So I would have to say that when they do learn about drinking, they'll learn about drinking from us, but actually having drinks, they will probably have it from relatives and from peer groups.
It's at home. This is where it really starts. But we don't want to admit it. Your The average person is in business or got a good job, so they're gone all the time. The booze is there, the kids can get it anytime they want to.
Well, I also definitely feel it starts in the home. I have a daughter 1.5 years, and when I have people over, she always wants a little bit of wine or a little bit of beer, and I give it to her. I always give it to her. But it's not a thing that, I give her like a bottle of beer, I'll give her a little sip. And I find that in a lot of the European cultures, that is encouraged.
And I think parents really feel lost. We haven't reached any consensus in those cultures where the culture feels like there are occasions where you drink. Drunkenness is not condoned. And there's a structure that the kids are introduced to wine at home, at the table, as part of a social function or whatever. They're learning rules for drinking almost, or when it's appropriate or not appropriate, or how to make their own decisions.
There are an estimated 400,000 adult alcoholics in New York City, making up approximately 5% of the adult population. The rate of alcoholism, and this is now addictive alcoholism in youngsters, is going at an overall rate of 12.9%.
All families aren't structured the same, for one thing, and I think a lot of times it's important to realize that a certain type of family, as far as background, culture, things which unite this family together, all keep it apart, is very important in understanding how children learn to drink.
At special occasions. There are too many special occasions. If it rains, I'll drink to that. I'm serious. You have a baby, I'll drink to that. So you want to meet your boss, you want to raise, I'll drink to that. It's too many special occasions.
And the whole success of Sesame Street is based on the principles that are used in advertisements. Short, quick, to the point types of spots. And this is geared to exactly match with a child's short attention span, and then moves on to something else. So I think that in terms of teaching about the desirability of alcohol, teaching children that alcohol is something to be desired, I think the media plays an enormous role.
And I happened to look at a movie last night, and I seen in a matter of maybe 5 minutes, this woman asked the man 3 times, "Can I fix you another drink?" And each time he accepted. This is the type of thing that our kids are looking at, when we wonder, how is it that they learn to drink? It's right there.
If you watch the advertisements, I think what you learn is people who drink are either young, beautiful, rich, and sophisticated, which all kids would like to be.
Exactly.
Or they're super macho. Big football players, don't take away my gusto.
Yeah.
Cowboys, real super manly macho type of thing.
Yeah.
And you will be like this if you drink this product. It seems to be the implied message.
If something is definitely geared to adult programming, and then it's the parents' responsibility to restrict that programming to the children. I think you can't, wash down everything for the American public. I mean, just because children may be watching too. I think the media can't have the 100% responsibility.
I don't know, I personally feel, there's no beating the system, These alcohol companies are paying too much to have their advertisements on TV and so.
I don't know. I tend to disagree with that because your parents can only tell you so much about alcohol, whether or not they drink. You see them drinking it, and some kids might follow example. But as far as the media go, it really, literally hits you below the belt. It just slaps this in your face. It like toothpaste ads, the sex role and, the whole sex appeal and this is feminine, this is what you do to be masculine. And I think it's very wrong.
They're really slinging it, if I may use that. They're really slinging it to you in the commercials and then in all the different programs, starting from, John Wayne and all of his Western movies and Dean Martin and God, the whole bunch of them, all the programs. And so the children are exposed to different things on TV, and there's a bottle there, there's glasses here, there's people drinking, there's people toasting. then there's the advertisement to do it, you know.
For parents, I think the first thing they can do is get information themselves about alcohol, accurate information. We have so many myths going around our society about alcohol, that it's a stimulant, but it's a depressant. That, you know, just things like taking a flask to the football game because a hit of brandy is going to keep you warm. Well, in fact, it makes you lose your body heat faster. There's so many of these myths that parents themselves don't know. So the first thing is to get accurate information themselves.
I would agree that children learn maybe initially about drinking alcohol in the home. But I think that, and nowadays it's kind of the thing to try it, and it's always been the thing to try it, but maybe when the child was 18 instead of 10 or 11. And I think what was mentioned about using alcohol to cope is you know, many children, or most children, are going to try it. And then there are going to be some who are going to continue. So it's, I believe that it's a lot of it is based on the lack of structure, the lack of values, and the lack of family closeness that I think is not as strong in our society as it used to be.
Well, they learn from their environment, they learn from the media, and I would say the first thing we should do is try to get a better media approach to it like we have with smoking. I think in the schools we should have more updated and improved programming on it, and emphasis, which they've done now with cigarette smoking, could be done with alcohol.
Definitely, when you said prevention, is very important, because I think although we cannot deal with the secondary stages on a preventive level, we can reach the kids coming up now and start to educate them and start to deal with them in that type of a way. By the time they are ready to be in that type of secondary stage or that tertiary stage, as you mentioned, they won't get there because they've already had some type of education.
I mean, the schools don't touch it like they don't touch sex education. In my children's school, one of the reasons they didn't want to touch sex education was because they felt you're dealing with a personal thing, and each family has their own values, and that's something that should be done at home.
Where they learn to drink, I think they learn from just from their friends, you know, and people around them who drink. Not necessarily their parents, because no parent wants their child to grow up and drink, or to have a drink every so often. But mostly, with me anyway, it was around school. And once people get into the high school level, they see all their high school friends going out every Friday and Saturday night and putting away a few beers and whatever. And that's where my major influence is from school.
I think that what is necessary is a public policy. And there has been no real public policy on alcohol. It's all part and symptomatic of the fact that we don't really have a preventative medicine kind of outlook on life here. We don't provide preventative medicine, we provide tertiary medicine. In other words, it's the attitude, once you get there, we'll try and take care of you. But nobody along the road is putting money into preventing you from getting there, preventing you from getting the cancer, preventing you from becoming an alcoholic.
In schools, if any high school students or any grammar school students wanted to talk about it, I would suggest talking with an unbiased person, like a guidance counselor. If you talk with your parents, they're going to say, oh, don't do it. You know, if you talk big television, big wheels, they'll say, go ahead, do it. We need the bucks. But if you talk to someone who doesn't really care either way and just wants to give them personal opinion, you know, I think someone like a guidance counselor would be your best bet. You know.
Paula, how do you sum up here?
I think that television is indirectly involved. It is involved in some way. And I also think that it's a subject that should not be kind of kept under the covers. It should be brought out to the open and made it known that children are learning about alcohol, and something has to be done to kind of guide them in learning about it and let them know all aspects of alcohol and what it does do to you and how much is good and what can be bad, and on a level that they can understand. You learn, you know, what your own limit is, and I think that I'm old enough to know that. Young children aren't, because parents are afraid, I think, to say anything to them, but they learn very young, because I saw 7- and 8-year-olds speaking about alcohol, and I'm sure that their parents have no idea what's going on with them. And it's really sad, because I think parents should, because something has to be done about it. Or I would prefer not to make it so cut and dry, like parents, environment, school,
you know, more just like a kid is like socialized into drinking. Like everything is just contributing to it.
I think we have to push for some sort of a campaign similar to what we've done with cigarettes. and pound it home to these children that alcohol should be used in moderation. And teach them that way, because it's very difficult as a parent to push home exactly what you want. But if you have a campaign and it's pushed at them day in and day out, just like we do with cigarettes, I think something could be done there.
So, how do the children learn to drink? Well, we could have guessed some of the answers. Television, family, teenagers, some of those things we kind of knew. But interestingly enough, they told us that they learned most of what they knew by example, having seen grandmother, father, uncle, TV hero, commercial, having seen alcohol being used by adults, and mostly in a favorable setting. Does that mean that this lack of direct information is going to lead them to teenage alcoholism? That TV is to blame? That schools aren't doing enough? That parents are lax? Well, we certainly can't generalize that way, and we're not going to. But we can say that our children need our help. They need direct information. But where do we start? Well, I'm Dennis Becker, and speaking for the producers of this program, we say, if you want to know some things about your kids, talk to your kids.
Or you getting killed if you drink too much of it.
I thought you guys all said that the people that you saw on TV who were drinking were funny and doing funny things, and now you're all telling me, no, it's awful, it's going to make you sick, and you have accidents.
It might not really be real beer. They probably just have a can, and they probably have something else in it if they don't like the beer.